Welcome to New Business in Later Life, where we prove that it's never too late to pursue your entrepreneurial dreams. You will meet remarkable individuals who launch successful businesses over 50, sharing their stories, challenges, and enthusiasm. Your host, Ildiko, is a former social housing professional, textile designer, and teacher who described herself as a life artist. She is now a property professional, business network host, and facilitator of the Entrepreneurs Club. Subscribe now to hear these inspiring stories every week.
That dyslexia or I don't know if you want to sort of answer it separately for the two conditions, ADHD, have they been a hindrance to business life or you've always just embraced it?
If you take a step back from the question itself and understand that dyslexia is a brain development difference. Okay. So everybody's brain was kind of established the way it is about 40,000 years ago. No brain was designed to read, write, or spell. Okay. No brain.
Okay.
So your brain has to co-opt parts of itself that were designed for other things in order to be able to read, write, or spell. Letters as symbols. Our brains were developed to recognize symbols.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we've got to do as everybody, if you're reading, your brain has to interpret that symbol and match it with a symbol to be able to identify it. And so those three regions that the brain co-opts in order to read, write, and spell have evolved differently for people with dyslexia.
Okay.
And so that whole decoding process takes a lot longer.
Okay.
And it's an evolutionary difference. That's dyslexia. ADHD, on the other hand, is the way in which the wiring in the brain connects and sends signals. In your brain is about 80 billion neurons. They make about 110 trillion connections with each other in different ways all the time. Okay. And so it's an electrical field inside your head. Okay. And so somebody with ADHD, that electrical field works differently. It communicates differently. Neurotransmitters, which carry signals, operate in a different way.
Okay.
So it's a brain difference. So the two are evolutionary differences for evolutionary reasons. If you think 40,000 years ago, we didn't live in cities.
No.
We didn't drive cars. There were no airplanes. Our brains never evolved to deal with those things.
Yeah, things are changing so fast now.
Absolutely. So we've had to co-opt different parts of our brain to be able to understand those things. One is a brain development difference for evolutionary purposes. The other one is a brain connectivity difference for evolutionary purposes.
Going back to the question, do these hinder you or propel you?
Yes and no.
In business?
Yes and no. So they hinder in the sense of there's certain things that I know I'm rubbish at. I'm absolutely rubbish at. For example, don't give me detail. I am not interested. I'm not good at it. I'm rubbish at it. And because of it, I probably I spell a lot of people's names wrong because I don't think of the detail. I think the big picture. And that's a thing for most people with dyslexia as well as ADHD.
Yeah.
We look at the big picture and forget about the minutiae in between. Another way in which it hinders me in business is that somebody will say to me, Vic, this task, can you do that? Yes. How long is it going to take you? 2 days. Because I over-anticipate the speed at which I can do things.
Which is actually very good because I'm the opposite. I think, I can do it in 2 hours and it takes me 4 or 6 or 2 days.
Well, if I say it takes me 2 days.
I have a bit of intention when I say 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, I have, if I say 2 days, I probably actually know that's going to take me 10. So I'm over anticipating my ability and the speed at which I can do things, forgetting about the detail to make that thing work. So it's a hindrance in that way. However, it's a huge advantage in the sense of I come up with things and solutions to problems that people have never thought of. So I'll give you an example. I was working with a client in a big cement company in Oman, Raysat Cement. And they had a particular issue with finance. They just couldn't get the financing of a particular program to work. And I was there doing a completely different project.
Okay.
And I was sitting talking with the CEO. We were having a meal. And he said to me, he was telling me about this problem. And I said to him, well, why don't you just do that? And he was stunned. Obviously, I can't give you the detail of it, but
No.
I said, just do that. And he looked at me as if to say, have you completely lost your mind?
It's so simple.
So simple. And the solution was that. That's where it's an advantage.
Recently, I was listening to something that said that it's really good to bring in people from outside your area, because they'll think completely differently and will see problems from a completely different angle and light, and can, just like your story, can bring a really simple solution to something
But
that you
they'll
can't
also-
see. It's like the can't see the wood for the trees kind of situation, isn't it?
But they'll also ask questions that you probably wouldn't ask. If you bring in somebody from outside, they don't see the box that you see.
Yes,
So if you're in property, for example, okay,
which I am.
which you are, yes,
Which I am,
okay,
yes.
you will have a particular way in which you see things.
Yes.
Okay, that's how it works. Bring in somebody from outside that knows nothing about property. They're going to ask you questions that are outside of that.
Yeah, because they see it completely differently.
Because they see it differently. Now, I've got a very good friend in America who talks about seeing things on the periphery, right on the outer edge. And that's what people with ADHD do. We see things right on the outer edge, and those things on the outer edge are typically the answer to the problem that you have.